There's over 120,000 edible plants on planet Earth. Some measure it as even more than 300,000, but we generally consume about 1% of these, or maybe less. And the plants that are grown commercially are even fewer. And just getting to wonder about this, and there seems to be quite an imbalance, because there's so much in the world that is good for us that we're missing out on because of commercial enterprise. A lot of the crops that are grown because they're sustainable, they're viable to make people a profit. But here at Suansuk Homestay, we're learning to listen to the land, learning to get a feel for what the land has that it wants to give us, even if in the past we've considered some of the things that we're eating to be weeds. We're discovering in our garden we've got so many different plants that are really good to eat and can also be medicinal to us, that can help us. Let me share some of this with you, what we're doing and how we're going about it. Most days I'm out in the garden, sometimes in the morning, usually in the evening, really working hard, and I'll quite often come in absolutely drenched with sweat and pretty tired. I used to reach for an energy drink, but these days Pansa is making smoothies for us. They're a mixture of fruit. Preferable is what we can grow ourselves, and lately that's been banana and mango and papaya. We usually add some pineapple to the mix as well, and then a good couple of handfuls of local herbs. Some of these that I'd previously considered to be weeds growing in our garden that I would destroy or throw in the compost. Now we've learned a bit about them and we're putting them into our bodies, realizing that nature is giving us everything that we need. It might not be the immediate boost of energy that a purchased energy drink might give us, but it's going to be clean and pure and organic and will sustain us for longer. And it's not putting any toxins into our body in a way that something that we buy off the convenience store shelf might do. And we've also got no need to drive anywhere to buy something that's packaged and promoted and displayed and costs us money. It can all come from our garden. Well, at least most of it does. And the biggest challenge for me in doing this has not been that it's a matter of picking something from the garden and using it. It's not meaning to get really used to a different flavour in my mouth. The biggest challenges in my thinking is that I am so used to buying something off the supermarket shelf or from the convenience store when I want an energy boost, rather than looking to our own garden and consuming what our land has produced and understanding the real goodness that this is putting into my body. So the challenge is in changing my thinking, changing my mind to get away from what we've been taught and educated as being good edible food, realizing that these days that's changed a lot, because so much of what's going into the food is so super processed, so ultra processed, that our bodies struggle to really digest it and break it down. Sure, it's going to give us a quick rush, it's going to give us a quick energy boost, but in the long run, it's pulling us down. It's really not doing our bodies or our minds any good. And it's been great to learn and to begin learning what we can eat and what we can put aside and what we can use for medicinal things. Pansa recently went to a free seminar that was put on by an organisation here that wants to really revive the old traditions, the ancient wisdom of what edible plants are. Not plants that can be viably farmed and sold at the supermarket, but plants that we can pick easily, and it's really just a matter of identifying them. You know, we're so used to walking into the supermarket, into the produce section, and picking up fruits and vegetables. We don't need to be worried about what they taste like or whether they're edible. These days, I find that a lot of the produce in the supermarkets really doesn't have much flavour compared especially to what we can grow in our garden, because it's been fed so much chemical that's designed to boost the plant growth, to speed up the plant growth, and to make it so that it lasts longer and can be displayed longer. And this is the problem with the herbs that we grow locally in our garden. The reason, or one of the reasons that they're not farmed, is because they are not going to look great after being picked for a day or two, so they're not going to survive the transport to the packing plant or the transport from there to the supermarket. They're just not going to be looking very good at all. So people don't farm them, they don't market them. And this is understandable if you're a farmer, but we're growing stuff in our own garden and we like to grow what we can eat from our own garden. It's a wonderful experience. And these days, with prices rising, with supply chains being disrupted by wars and what have you, the price of fuel is going up, the price of fertilizer is going up, and both of these things are scarce. So we're predicting that in the future it's going to get even more difficult to feed ourselves from what we have to buy. So we're trying to build up what we can grow here and supply our own needs with what we can from our garden. This way it's saving money, we're not reliant on the supply chain, and we really know what we're eating because we know what goes into the land. Whereas if we're buying from a supermarket or even from our local fresh market, sure, the prices are going up, the transport involved is really increasing the carbon footprint, and we are not sure how much chemical has been put onto the plants that we're buying when we're buying fruit and vegetables from the supermarket or from the fresh market. And so we're making a start, just gently and carefully. Pansa's been making smoothies and they are absolutely delicious. Well, the first 2 or 3 weren't so good because she was putting a little bit too much of the local herb, the local weeds into the mix. And yeah, it was a little bit like drinking grass. But then we decided, or she decided that, yeah, let's find the balance and let's really just find a good mix of the fruit and the vegetable to make it palatable so that we'll keep eating it. She said to me last night that, oh, if I'd kept making them the way I did when I started, we might have drunk them for a week and then probably stopped because it was a little bit like drinking grass. Now she's found the balance, including pineapple, which is great for digestion. And then we're also using green mango and green papaya. And she said the reason that we use them when they're still slightly green, they're not fully ripe, is that they will help cool our bodies rather than when they're ripe, when the sugars are more formed in them, they will tend to heat our bodies up. So it's keeping it cool. And then the other thing that we'll often add to when we've got it is some banana. And this just is always good for our bodies. And then, yeah, a couple of good handfuls of these two. This is Saap and dal doi that we're adding into the smoothie. And once she got the balance, it was really good. There's also some lime being squeezed in there and maybe about half a teaspoon of salt. And this will make 4 big glasses of smoothie. And they keep well in the fridge till the next day. So we'll make it, we'll drink one, and then we'll keep one for the next day as well. And it's a really delicious drink and a fabulous energy boost that's giving us a lot of good vitamins and minerals and protein. And we've got about 1 acre of ground here, but you don't even need that much. You can have a few pots growing weeds, specifically growing your local herbs on your porch. It's really easy. Or just by walking in the neighborhood and knowing the plants to pick and identifying them. And there's some great resources online for doing this. Just do a quick search, you'll find them. For people in North America, the one website that I found that's really, really comprehensive is eattheweeds.com. Lots of good info there, lots of text and lots of videos so you can learn. I'm sure if you're living in other parts of the world that you can find other websites and other apps that'll help you to identify the plants, or better still, find an older person, find an elder in your culture who knows and understands which of the locally growing plants can be eaten and which of them can be used for medicinal purposes, and they will give you the best knowledge. But one of the best ways we've found to identify a plant really quickly is to use an app on your phone and just take a photograph of the plant. We use PlantNet, and it will then come up with the information about what the plant is, and you can then research to know whether it's edible or not. And from what I understand, about 3/4, about 75% of the plants that grow on planet Earth are actually edible. Some of them maybe not so palatable, and yeah, these will depend on whereabouts you live in the world and also the taste that you're used to. And like I said, the biggest challenge for me was getting my head around what I was actually eating and getting away from the idea that it wasn't purchased in a supermarket, that it was just grown in a yard, and it was previously conceived to be something that was a pest or wasteful or just a nuisance weed. And so we're really working to get away from only consuming food that is produced because it's marketable, because it's able to be farmed for a profit by someone with a big piece of land and lots of equipment, and that requires shipping to the markets and requires packaging and pricing and marketing and all the rest of the stuff. That our food doesn't need to be like that. We can consume what we grow on our own land, what we can sustain, what is natural, what is organic, and what is really beneficial to our bodies. And it is so practical and it's free. And if you'd like to know more about what we do here at Sue and Silk Homestay, you can watch this video next. And thanks very much for watching this one all the way through.